Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We uncover the fascinating world of rare coins and the incredible stories behind them. Today we are diving into the story of a 1994 1-cent coin that might look like an ordinary Lincoln penny at first glance, but in reality it can be worth up to $470 due to its rare errors, unusual mistakes, and the intriguing possibilities that have made it so valuable to collectors all over the world. So if you've ever wondered how a single penny could command such a high price, prepare to be amazed, because the tale of the 1994 1-cent is one of history, minting quirks, rarity, and the relentless passion of numismatics. Starting with the basic facts, the 1994 penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which began in 1959 and continued until 2008 when the reverse design was changed. But this particular year's mintage holds some surprising secrets. Struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, these coins were intended to be uniform in weight, diameter, composition, and appearance, but minting errors and production issues meant that a small fraction of them turned out very differently, and it is these differences that have led to their impressive market value today. One of the most famous errors seen on 1994 cents is the double die obverse, where the die used to strike the coin was improperly prepared or misaligned, leading to a doubling effect on key features such as the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." Under magnification, the doubling is easy to spot, but even without a loupe, some examples show such strong doubling that it's visible to the naked eye, and because these kinds of errors are so rare, collectors are willing to pay a premium. Another valuable mistake is the off-center strike, where the coin blank, or planchette, was not seated correctly in the press, causing the design to be shifted to one side and leaving a portion of the coin blank. The greater the percentage of the off-center misstrike while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes, and in the case of 1994 pennies, some spectacular off-center strikes exist that have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. In addition to these, there are 1994 cents with clipped planchets, meaning the blank itself was cut incorrectly from the metal sheet, resulting in a curved or straight section missing from the coin. Such errors are eye-catching and can significantly increase value. Then there are broad strike errors, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out larger than normal, giving it a strange flattened look. This anomaly is sought after not just for its visual appeal but for its rarity. The 1994 penny also exists in transitional error forms, where the coin was struck on the wrong planchette altogether. For example, some were struck on planchets meant for foreign coins, or even on copper instead of the intended copper-plated zinc. Considering that 1982 was the year of the major composition change from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc, any post-1982 coin struck in copper by mistake is extremely rare, and when such an error occurs in 1994, it becomes a major numismatic treasure. Another fascinating possibility comes from repunched mint marks, RPMs, particularly on the Denver minted coins marked with a D, where the mint mark was punched into the die more than once but in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like doubling effect. This happened during the era before mint marks were added digitally, and RPMs are highly collectible because they represent a tangible link to the manual processes of coin production. Die cracks and cuds are also part of the 1994 penny error family, occurring when the dies used to strike the coins develop cracks or break, resulting in raised lines or missing chunks of design where metal has filled the gap. These are unique because no two are exactly alike, giving each coin an individual identity and making them especially attractive to error specialists. While the face value of this coin is just 1 cent, its historical, mechanical, and artistic quirks can elevate it to hundreds of dollars in the open market. The grading of the coin plays a huge role too, with coins in mint state condition fetching far higher prices than those with wear, as pristine examples with sharp details, full luster, and minimal contact marks are far harder to find, particularly when paired with major errors. The market for such coins is driven by passionate collectors, specialized error dealers, and auction houses that cater to numismatic enthusiasts, and because error coins are often one of a kind or produced in very small numbers, demand can exceed supply dramatically, pushing prices even higher. It's also important to remember that in coin collecting, rarity is not only about how few were made, but also about how few have survived in collectible condition. Many 1994 pennies were spent and circulated heavily, so finding one with an error in high grade is a challenge. There are even cases where coins with multiple errors, say a double die combined with an off-center strike, are valued exponentially higher because the combination is so unlikely. In these cases, values well above $470 have been recorded. the fascination with coins like the 1994 penny lies in the blend of history, chance, and craftsmanship. Each era tells a story of what went wrong during production, offering a physical record of the human and mechanical elements of minting, and collectors love the detective work involved in identifying, classifying, and preserving these coins. So if you happen to have a jar of old pennies sitting at home, it's worth taking a closer look at your 1994s under good lighting and magnification, because you might just be holding a hidden treasure. Auction results show that even minor errors can bring in impressive sums. And when it comes to dramatic mistakes like misstrikes, off-metal planches, and strong doubling, the sky's the limit. With the right buyer, the right condition, and the right error, your penny could turn into hundreds of dollars instantly, making coin collecting not only a fascinating hobby but a potentially profitable one. The beauty of the 1994 penny story is that it's not just about metal and minting, it's about the unexpected survival of flawed beauty in a system designed for perfection. And it serves as a reminder that sometimes mistakes are what make something truly special, which is exactly why this small copper-plated disc has captured the imagination of so many and continues to be a shining example of how even the most humble object can hold remarkable value when viewed through the lens of history, rarity, and passionate collecting. Next, 2004 D1 cent USA coin, we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, unbelievable minting mishaps, and the hidden treasures you might have sitting in your change jar. Today we're diving deep into a story that will amaze collectors and casual viewers alike, the story of the 2004 D1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln Memorial penny minted in Denver that, under the right circumstances, can be worth as much as $500 due to its rare errors, unusual mistakes, and the many intriguing possibilities that make it so valuable in the eyes of numismatists. At first glance, the 2004 D penny doesn't seem extraordinary. It has the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, struck in copper-plated zinc as was standard since the composition change in 1982. But hidden among the hundreds of millions produced that year are tiny fractions of coins with spectacular minting errors that transform them from everyday pocket change into highly sought-after collectibles. So let's start by breaking down the kinds of errors that can make a 2004 D1 cent worth hundreds of dollars. One of the most famous and valuable error types is the double die, where a die used to strike the coin is improperly prepared so the design is imprinted twice in slightly different positions. This doubling can occur on the obverse, affecting features like the date, the D mint mark, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust," or on the reverse, where letters of United States of America or 1 cent appear doubled. In some cases the doubling is so strong that it's visible without magnification, and such examples are instantly recognized by seasoned collectors. Doubling on a 2004 D can range from light and subtle to dramatic and bold, with the strongest examples commanding the highest prices. Another prized error is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank, or planchette, is not perfectly aligned in the striking chamber, causing the design to be shifted toward one edge and leaving part of the coin blank. Off-center strikes of 5% to 10% are interesting but not extremely valuable. However, when the strike is 40% or more off-center yet still shows the full date and mint mark, the value rises significantly, and such coins can easily push toward the $500 mark if in uncirculated condition. Then there are broad strike errors, caused when the retaining collar fails during minting, allowing the coin to spread outward beyond its normal diameter. Broad strikes are visually striking because they look flattened or enlarged, yet still retain the design elements, and they attract collectors precisely because they're so different from regular coins. Another error possibility for the 2004 D penny is the clip planchette, where part of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process. This results in a curved or straight clipped edge, with some examples showing Blakesley effect on the opposite side where metal flow is disrupted. More dramatic still are coins struck on the wrong planchette, a rare but exciting error. For instance, a 2004 D penny might be accidentally struck on a foreign coin blank or on a blank meant for a dime, nickel, or other US denomination. This results in coins with incorrect weight, diameter, or metal composition. Such errors are highly collectible because they combine rarity with a visible and measurable difference from normal coins. Another form of rarity is the transitional error, though not officially occurring in 2004 since the composition had long been standardized. Mistakes do happen, and occasionally copper planchets from pre-year 1982 may remain in the system and be used accidentally, creating a 2004 D penny that is 95% copper instead of copper-plated zinc, weighing 3.11 grams instead of 2.5. Such a coin would be extremely rare and highly prized. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, are also worth noting. In earlier times, mint marks were hand-punched into the dies, but by 2004 the process was mechanical, yet minor shifts or doubled impressions in the mint mark can still occur, creating a subtle but collectible variation. These are particularly appealing to specialists in die varieties. Die cracks, die breaks, and cuds are also found on 2004 D pennies, occurring when the minting dies develop fractures or lose pieces of metal, resulting in raised lines, bumps, or missing design areas filled in by excess metal. Each of these errors is unique because the damage to the die changes over time, meaning no two coins will have the exact same pattern. Coins with dramatic die breaks can be very desirable, especially when they affect major design elements like Lincoln's face or the lettering. Another interesting error is the struck-through error, where a piece of debris, cloth, wire, or even grease is caught between the die and the planchette during striking, leaving an impression or void on the coin. Grease-filled dies can cause parts of the design to appear weak or missing, and while minor cases are common, extreme examples where entire words or numbers are missing are much rarer and can fetch strong prices. Multiple strike errors occur when a coin is struck more than once without being properly ejected from the press, resulting in overlapping or rotated designs. These are dramatic errors and often command top dollar because they are so visually distinctive. The value of any error coin depends heavily on its condition, with coins in mint state condition commanding much higher premiums than those that are worn. Grading by a professional service such as PCGS or NGC can further authenticate and enhance the value of a coin, particularly for rarer or more spectacular errors. Demand for the 2004 D penny with errors is fueled by both general collectors who appreciate its visual appeal and error specialists who seek specific varieties for their collections. Auction records show that well-preserved examples of major 2004 D errors can easily reach or exceed the $500 range, especially when multiple errors appear on a single coin, such as an off-center double die with a clip planchette, which would be exceptionally rare. The sheer scale of the U.S. Mint's production means that errors are statistically inevitable, but the challenge is finding them before they disappear into circulation and are lost to wear. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 2004, and while the vast majority were flawless, the tiny fraction with significant errors became instant collectibles. These coins represent the unpredictable nature of mass production, where precision is the goal but imperfection can sometimes create something far more valuable. For collectors, the 2004 D penny serves as a reminder that hidden treasures can still be found in everyday change. You don't need to dig through ancient hoards or bid in high-end auctions to discover value. Sometimes it's sitting quietly in your pocket, and that's part of the thrill of numismatics. The combination of history, artistry, and the quirks of minting makes each error coin a small mystery to be solved, and the stories they tell are as fascinating as the prices they command. So the next time you spot a 2004 D penny, take a closer look, examine the date, mint mark, and every detail for signs of doubling, misalignment, unusual shapes, or missing design elements. You might just find a coin that turns out to be worth hundreds of dollars, and with the right error, the right condition, and the right buyer, that small copper-plated disc could transform from a humble cent into a $500 piece of history, making coin collecting not only an enjoyable hobby but also a potential source of unexpected fortune. And it's this blend of chance, rarity, and beauty in imperfection that keeps collectors searching and the legend of the 2004 D1 cent alive in the world of valuable coins. Last 1998 D1 cent USA coin, we explore the incredible world of rare coins, hidden treasures in your pocket change, and the fascinating stories of minting errors that turn ordinary cents into valuable collectibles worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And today we're diving into the story of the 1998 D1 cent coin, a Lincoln Memorial penny minted in Denver that, while it may seem completely ordinary at first glance, can actually be worth as much as $428 because of specific minting errors, unusual mistakes, and other factors that make it highly desirable to collectors. So sit back and get ready to learn why this small copper-plated zinc coin, weighing just 2.5 grams and measuring 19.05 millimeters in diameter, has captured the attention of numismatists around the world. The 1998 D penny was part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which had been using the memorial reverse design since 1959, and while the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins that year, a tiny fraction left the mint with noticeable minting defects. mechanical mishaps, or planchette anomalies that would set them apart from the rest. One of the most famous and collectible types of error on a 1998 D penny is the double die, where the coin's die is improperly manufactured or set, resulting in design elements being struck twice but slightly offset. This doubling can occur on the obverse, where features like the date, the mint mark, the motto "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty May" appear doubled, or on the reverse where the lettering of United States of America, E pluribus unum, or 1 cent appears with a distinct shadow or repetition. Strong doubling can be visible without magnification, and such dramatic examples can command very high prices. Then there's the off-center strike, which happens when the planchette is not properly seated in the striking chamber, causing the design to be shifted toward one side and leaving a portion of the coin blank. The degree of the off-center strike can greatly influence value, with minor off-centers being interesting but not overly valuable, while major off-centers of 40% or more that still retain a full date and mint mark are extremely desirable and can push the value up toward or even beyond the $428 mark. Another eye-catching error for 1998 D cents is the broad strike, where the retaining collar fails during minting and allows the metal to spread outward beyond its normal boundaries, producing a wider, flatter coin that still shows all design elements but has an unusual shape that appeals to error collectors. There are also examples of clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing because the blank was cut incorrectly from the metal strip before striking. These clips can be curved, straight, or even irregular depending on the cause, and larger, more dramatic clips are more sought after. Another category of error that can affect the 1998 D penny is the wrong planchette strike, where the coin is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination or even a foreign coin. This can lead to pennies that are underweight, overweight, or made from a different metal composition entirely. For example, a 1998 D struck on a dime planchette would be smaller in diameter, lighter in weight, and missing parts of the design, making it instantly recognizable and valuable. A particularly intriguing possibility is the transitional planchette error, though rare by this time since the US Mint had long been using copper-plated zinc after 1982. A leftover copper planchette from pre-year 1982 could theoretically have been struck with a 1998 D design, producing a coin weighing 3.11 grams instead of 2.5 grams. Such a coin would be incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, are another variety worth looking for. Though by the late 1990s mint mark punching had been mechanized, subtle doubling or misplacement of the mint mark can still occur, creating a collectible variation that some specialists actively seek. Then there are die cracks, die breaks, and cuds, which are the result of damage to the dies used to strike the coins. A die crack appears as a raised line on the coin's surface, following the path of a fracture in the die. A cud occurs when a piece of the die actually breaks away, leaving a blank, raised blob where the design is missing. These types of errors are unique because the damage to the die evolves over time, meaning no two coins will look exactly the same, making them appealing to variety and error collectors alike. Struck-through errors are another fascinating category, occurring when some foreign material such as wire, cloth, or grease gets between the die and the planchette during striking, resulting in missing or distorted design details. In particular, grease-filled dies can leave parts of the lettering or date faint or completely missing, which can be startling to see on a modern coin. Multiple strike errors are also possible, where the coin is struck more than once without being properly ejected, creating overlapping or rotated images that are immediately noticeable and highly collectible. In all these cases, condition plays a critical role in determining value. A coin with a dramatic error in poor condition may be interesting but won't fetch top prices, while the same error in a mint state example with original luster and sharp detail can command significant premiums. Coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC tend to bring the strongest prices because authentication removes doubts about the error being genuine. Demand for 1998 D error pennies is driven by both the general collecting community, who enjoy the novelty of obvious mint mistakes, and by specialist collectors who build entire sets around specific error types or die varieties. Auction results show that well-preserved examples of major errors can indeed reach the $428 level or more, especially for coins with extreme visual impact like major off-center double dies, large clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong planchette. Part of the fascination with the 1998 D penny is that it represents a time when the minting process was highly mechanized but still subject to human oversight and occasional mechanical failure, and those rare moments when the system faltered produced coins that, decades later, stand out from the billions of normal strikes. This rarity is compounded by the fact that most error coins enter circulation and quickly get worn down, damaged, or lost, meaning that surviving high-grade examples are scarce. For collectors, finding a rare 1998 D penny with an error is like discovering a little piece of minting history, a frozen moment when something went unexpectedly wrong in a process designed for perfection, and that uniqueness is exactly what gives these coins their value. So if you have any 1998 D pennies lying around, it's worth taking a closer look under good lighting and maybe even magnification. Check for doubling on the date and lettering, look for off-center strikes, inspect the edges for clips, and weigh your coins to see if any come in heavier than expected, because you might just find a hidden treasure worth hundreds of dollars, and the thrill of finding such a coin is part of what keeps collectors searching, examining, and cherishing these small but fascinating pieces of American history. And that is why the humble 1998 D penny, under the right circumstances, can be so much more than just a cent. It can be a valuable, collectible, and tangible link to the quirky, unpredictable side of the minting process, a reminder that sometimes imperfections create the most perfect finds for those who know what to look for.